Determine the resultant of a system of forces as shown in figure, acting on a 40 by 40 mm size plate lamina. Each grid is of size 10 mm by 10 mm. Determine the x and y intercepts also. Now first, calculating this angle. This angle θ1 is given by tan inverse of opposite by adjacent. Opposite is three grids, that is 30, and adjacent is one grid, tan inverse of 30 by 10. So θ1 is we get is 71.57 degrees. Now this angle is given by θ2. So tan inverse of opposite by adjacent, 4 grids and 2 grids. So θ2 we get 63.43 degrees. And now writing this angle will be 63.43 degrees as both angles are opposite, and this angle is 71.57 opposite as both angles are opposite angles. Now resolving all forces horizontally and vertically, summation Fx and summation Fy. Now this is 150 Newton force directing towards positive x-axis, so 150 directed towards positive x-axis, so plus 150, and this is force 400 cos 71.57 degrees directed towards positive x-axis, so 400 cos 71.57 degrees plus, and this force 200 cos 63.43 degrees directed towards positive x-axis, so plus 200 cos 63.43 degrees. And calculating all this, and one more force here, it is 100 Newton, it is directed towards positive x-axis, so plus 100 Newtons plus. Calculating all this, we get summation Fx value and searching for summation vertical force components. This force is 250 Newton, it is acting downwards, so minus 250, and this force 200 sin 63.43 degrees, it is acting towards upwards towards positive y-axis direction, so 200 sin 63.43 positive, and this force 400 sin 71.57 degrees, it is directed towards negative y-axis, so minus 400 sin 71.57 degrees. Calculating all this, we get summation Fy value, and resultant is given by square root of summation Fx square plus summation Fy square, and R value we get this value. Resultant direction is given by theta equal to tan inverse of summation Fy by summation Fx. Substituting summation Fy and summation Fx value, we get theta as 38.56 degrees. Now based on summation Fx and summation Fy values, we see that summation Fx is positive and summation Fy is negative. So this will happen in the fourth quadrant, and resultant is having magnitude of this much, and I am making angle of 38.56 degrees to the horizontal. Now to locate exact location of the resultant, we have to take moment of all force components about some of the point. Now say, let us consider point O as moment point. We are taking moment of forces about point O. Now for this force, this say it is line of action of force, and this force will move along line of action of force like this. So 100 Newton force is passing through point O, and it will have 0 moment 0 perpendicular distance about point O. So a moment of 100 Newton force about O is 0. Now for this force, line of action of force is like this, and it will pass through point O like this. So this will have also 0 perpendicular distance about point O. So its moment about point O will be equal to 0. Now for this force, line of action of force is like this, and it will pass through point line of action of force like this, and it will have perpendicular distance of this much, that is 4 grids, that is 40 mm. So it will rotate about point O like this clockwise. So it will have moment of magnitude 400 sin 71.57 into 40 degrees. Now this force, as this force is passing through point O only, it will have 0 moment about point O, and its components will also pass through point O. So moment of this force will be about point O will be equal to 0. So both forces are passing through point O, and they will have line of action of force like this, and they will pass through point O like this. So like this, it will have line of action of force like this, and it will pass through point O like this. So this force or its components, they both will have 0 perpendicular distance about point O. So moment of this force or its components about point O are 0. Now for this force, line of action of force is like this. It will pass through line of action of force like this, and it will have perpendicular distance from point O of 40 mm, 4 grids. So it will rotate about point O like this clockwise. So it will have moment of magnitude 150 into 40. So it is having clockwise moment about point O. So 150 into 40, 600 Newton mm. And for this force, 250 Newton, it will have line of action of force about point O like this, and it will pass through point O like this. So it will have 0 perpendicular distance about point O. So 250 Newton force will have 0 moment about point O. So calculating moments, all moments, we got only this force, and this force will be having moments about point O. Other force components, they will pass through point O, so their moment will be 0 about point O. Calculating all this, we get summation moment about O equal to this value, and D value, it is perpendicular distance of resultant about point O. Calculating, substituting summation MO value and R value, we get perpendicular distance of resultant from point O. X-intercept will be got by summation MA by summation FI. Substituting summation MA and summation FI value, we get X-intercept. Y-intercept is given by summation MO by summation FX. Substituting summation MO and summation FX values, we get Y-intercept. So finally, locating the resultant. So from point O, X-intercept is 47 meters and Y-intercept is 45 meters. So, and resultant is having a magnitude of 648.169 newtons and making angle of 71.57 degrees to the horizontal. So, sorry, 38.56 degrees to the horizontal.